Hi, sixth grade. Happy Thankful Thursday, or is it Terrific Thursday? I think it's Thankful. Thankful Thursday. All right, we are going to review your answers from yesterday's worksheet. Get that out. That's page 128. You should have read through section 4, which is all about Sparta, and answered the questions on your worksheet. So number 1, how did Ephors give the Spartan assembly an important power? Well, those 5 individuals were elected to oversee the day-to-day operations of the kings and the council, but really the important power was that they could remove a king who broke the law. So your answer should have included that. Number 2, how were helots different than slaves? We talked yesterday as we previewed the chapter about how the helots were raising farm food, produce for the Spartans, but they weren't owned by individuals. They were owned by the whole state, the whole Spartan state as a whole. And then also they had to overturn half the food they raised. So they get to keep half of it, and then they gave the other half to the Spartan state. Number 3, why did Sparta become a military state? It was really in order to control those helots. The helots outnumbered the Spartans, so they needed to be able to keep them in check and keep them in control to raise their food for them. And then number 4, how did Spartan males live in barracks? Why did Spartan males live in barracks? We talked about that. That's where they went for their education. They went there to receive an education in discipline and military training so that they could grow up to be those strong warriors that Spartan needed. So that is all of our answers there for page 128. Now today, you are going to answer the questions on page 129, and that is comparing Athens and Sparta. So let's go through that one together, okay? So Athens, we find, was on a city near a coast. Spartan, on the other hand, was an inland city-state. It was not on the coast. Athens used coins for money, and Sparta, they used iron rods for money. Athens had a great naval power that's over the sea, and Spartans, they were more of an army or land power. We saw that Athens had a democracy, where Sparta had an oligarchy. And Athens was led by that bull with the 1-year terms, and that was that special council selected down to lead the people, and they only served the 1-year term. But Sparta, on the other hand, they were led by 2 kings, and then they had a council of 28 men who served for life, not just for 1 year. So 2 kings and a life council, I'm going to say, because they served for life. Next, we see that Athens had a powerful assembly of all the free men in the city of Athens that would pass the laws. However, in Sparta, we see that the assembly was actually pretty weak, and the laws had to be approved by the council, and they elected those 5 ephors who would be able to have more power and control the king and even remove a king if necessary. So we're going to say a weak assembly and 5 ephors. Now, in Athens, they valued luxury and beauty. But in Sparta, I don't think we can say that was the case. Instead, we see that Sparta valued military discipline. Remember, those women were proud if they could raise strong Spartan warrior boys. In Athens, the boys got a pretty well-rounded education. In Sparta, their education was mainly on their military training. And in Athens, their goal was to become good citizens. Remember, this is a democracy. In Sparta, their goal is to become the best soldier. In Athens, we talked about this, how the women stayed mostly indoors, took care of the family, the cooking, and the household. In Sparta, their women actually were able to play sports, and they had a lot of freedom. You know what, actually, I think that one fits better down here. Let's put, because it says women had few rights, we're going to say women had freedom and played sports. That goes better on that line. And for this one, with them staying indoors, let's talk about what they did. So women raised strong sons is what their ultimate goal was. In Athens, they really valued more of the individual, and you see that playing out in the democracy, the individual having a voice in how the government is to be run. But in Sparta, they really feared what individuals would do if individuals had a voice. So they feared individual differences. They wanted everybody to be the same. They wanted everybody to be warriors, everybody to be fighters. And in Athens, we see that they valued new ideas, but Sparta did not like change. They feared change. They wanted everything and everyone to stay the same. In Athens, we see this evolving concept of democracy, right? Where gradually the people are starting to get more and more of a say-so in how the government is run. More and more power is going to the people. But in Sparta, we see that it's a rigid oligarchy. It really doesn't change. We don't see people getting rights or any of that sort of thing happening in Sparta. So two very, very different city-states that we have here. Run very differently, their ideas, their values, very different. You can see why these two city-states may have come to head, right? May have not quite got along. And that did in fact happen. They went to war with each other. Now, who held the most power in Spartan society? In Spartan society, it was the male citizens over the age of 60 who were elected to the Council of Elders. And then remember, once they were elected to that council, they served for life. And that was a very powerful position for those who were elected to that place. So that is our section on Sparta. Now I would like you to go to Kahoot and practice your section 4 quiz. I'm sorry I didn't have that pulled up for you, but I can get that up here real quickly and easily. This code was also emailed home to your parents, so they've got it for you. It will stay live through the weekend if you need that time, but you should be doing your section 4 quiz tomorrow. So here's our code for our section 4 Kahoot on Sparta. Type that in, go take that quiz, and then tomorrow is your section 4 quiz. So study, 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 and practice for that. Let's take a look at your section 4 quiz and see what you need to do on there. So in your section 4 quiz, again, just like always, you've got a multiple choice section. And then down at the bottom, you guys have done one of these before. It's a little bubble. You need to complete the web all about Helots. So give me 6 facts all about the Helots on that section 4 quiz. And then guess what? That's the last page in your Greece packet. We made it. We're done with ancient Greece after that. We will be reviewing next week for our ancient Greece test, and you'll be taking that test, and then we'll be done with ancient Greece. Can you believe it? It feels like we just started. All right, well, have fun playing Kahoot. Bye.